What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 17, The Choice. Let's talk about Faith and Loren. Now, before we get too deep into their segment, let's talk about Loren real quick. So, Loren has kind of been trending in the 90 Day Fiancé world because on his social media lives, he has revealed that he lied to get on the show. He lied about things when he was on the show just to appear more interesting, just to make his storylines more dramatic so that he could secure his spot in the 90 Day universe, basically. Now, I have caught a couple of these lives. I don't listen to the whole thing. And of course, when you scroll through whatever social media, you'll see clips of his lives. And I think there was even like some blogs written about the things that he's talked about and how he basically lied. Now, during his lives, he talks about how, because people keep asking him in the comments, aren't you breaking your NDA by revealing that you lied to get on the show? You lied about certain storylines. And he said that he's not breaking his NDA because he knows what to say and what not to say to not break the NDA. But to me, it seems like he's clearly breaking the NDA. So, which is the non-disclosure agreement that they have everybody sign to not reveal certain things about the show while they're still taping, while they're still recording for the season. So, in the lives, I remember him saying that really there's him and Faith are not a real couple. No wonder he looks so dead behind the eyes whenever he's looking at her, whenever he's talking to her. The proposal to me was so deadpan. It was so anticlimactic. There was no emotion. There was no feelings behind the proposal or anything like that, because that's not really his girlfriend. Now, I don't know if Faith knows that she's not really his girlfriend, because it's still not clear to me if Faith is in cahoots with him or if she's like an innocent bystander. So he talks about how if Faith wasn't going to agree to come on the show with him, that he had a couple of other people lined up that he would have brought on the show to play as his fiance. He talked about how he didn't have a problem talking about his gonorrhea because he knew that that's what makes the show. That's what makes him interesting, makes the storylines interesting. Talking about him getting an STD. He also said that Faith was very much aware that he was having sexual relations with other people, that her saying on camera that she misunderstood whenever he told her that he was sleeping at someone's house, and she thought he was just literally just sleeping at someone's house, not sleeping with someone at their house. He said that Faith knew. He was very upfront, very clear and concise with her that he was having sexual relations with these people that he was crashing at their houses at. He talked about, what else did he say? He said a lot of things that I can't really remember. You do any kind of search on whatever social media platform on Google, it'll all come up. But basically he lied, and he kept lying while he was on the show. And maybe more things will come to me as I talk about them, but I feel like he really did break his NDA by revealing all of this information, because I don't think the producers want people to know that they're basically hiring people to make up lies just to get on the show. And I think 90 Day Fiancé really fell apart as a franchise whenever they were allowing people to get on the show who had never met in real life, who only met through dating apps, and then all of a sudden they're trying to get a fiance visa with these people that they've only known online, that they've only known through apps. It used to be where the people would actually had met in real life, like if somebody was traveling to another country for a vacation or whatever, they would meet someone, they would develop feelings, fall into a relationship, and now they're in love and they want to get that person into America. That's the 90 Day Fiance that I'm used to. All this stuff about people meeting on apps and then 30 days later, they want to apply for the show because they're so in love and they want to get married, like, Tiger Lily and Adan and Vanja and Bojo, all these other people that just meet through dating apps and then they apply for the show before they even had actually met each other in person. To me, it's just really, it's bogus. It's whack. And that's the reason why nobody buys any of these storylines, is because it's like, come on, you know, seriously, you meet somebody on an app and then we're supposed to believe that y'all have fallen so deeply in love. And now y'all are going to try to struggle to get a fiance visa to come to the United States together. It's just so whack. So let's get into it. So their segment starts off with they talk about how Loren. Let me see. So Loren is supposed to be leaving the next day from the Philippines, but they went to talk to an attorney about him getting his citizenship, or how him and Faith can get married so that he can stay in the Philippines. So when they're at the lawyer's office, Loren brings up how he had this idea that they would get married in Thailand because he believes that same-sex marriages are legal in Thailand, and then they'll come back to the Philippines, and then they can start the process of him gaining his citizenship through them getting married. And the attorney says same-sex marriages are not legal in Thailand. And then Loren says, well, I have friends who got married in Thailand and they're gay couples. So I'm not understanding like how they did that. And the lawyer's like, I don't know what to tell you, but they're not legal in Thailand. And so the lawyer suggests that maybe they can get married in Taiwan because it is legal in Taiwan. And then Loren says, well, if we got married in Taiwan, then we would have to apply for her to get a passport and do all this paperwork just to get into Taiwan. And so then the lawyer suggests, okay, well, you can always try to go through the United States. And Faith was like, yeah, I would rather us apply for like a spousal or fiance visa and us live in the United States. And Loren is like adamant about not going back to America. He's like, no, I don't want to go back to Las Vegas. I don't want to go back to America. My plan was to stay here in the Philippines because it's just, according to Loren, because we don't know what the hell to believe from Loren. According to Loren, it's just easier for him to survive in Asia than it would be in America. The cost of living is lower, et cetera, et cetera. So, but Faith wants to come to America. That was the plan because she thought that it would better her opportunities, and then she could better her life and also better her family's life as well if she came to the United States instead of living in Asia. Okay, so we got that. And to me, I'm just like, Loren wasn't really thrilled with the idea of coming back to America with the reasons that I've explained. But then again, he also doesn't really love Faith. He doesn't love Faith, and he's not willing to put in the effort and the time and the money to get her a fiance visa or whatever to try to obtain a citizenship for her in the United States. That's very costly. It's very time consuming. And he's not willing to do any of that because he really doesn't love Faith. Faith is not really his girlfriend. Like I said, I don't know if Faith knows this or not, but he doesn't love Faith. And his plan wasn't to live happily ever after in the US with Faith. His plan was for him to live in Asia, and he was going to use Faith in order to do that. He doesn't see a future with Faith. He doesn't really want to be with Faith. He just wants a way. He's just basically using her to gain entryway into Asia. So his whole plan of going to Thailand and getting married and coming back to the Philippines, all of that went straight down the toilet. When we see them again, it is Loren's last night in Manila. He booked a room in a really nice hotel for them to spend their last night in. And I'm like, how did he do that? Because he came to the Philippines with only $42. How in the world was he able to get a ring and book a room and do all these things with her in the Philippines when supposedly he claimed he was so broke, he had no money. I don't know how he's doing it. So he's probably lied about being broke. That was probably a big fat lie as well to make his storyline more interesting. Like, he's a struggling American, he's homeless, but he wants to live in Asia. All of this was probably just all made up for the show. If he wasn't in cahoots with Faith, he was definitely in cahoots with the producers, because in his lives, I do remember him talking about how excited the producers were whenever he would give them, juicy tidbits. Like when he talked about him having gonorrhea, they were thrilled. They were happy. They were jumping for joy because it was juicy and exciting. Him being broke probably was a storyline that they ran with, that they absolutely loved. A broke American trying to survive in Asia and still trying to maintain his relationship with this Filipino transgendered fiance. So they get to the hotel and they're sitting at the table by the window, and the hotel had given them a complimentary piece of a chocolate cake. And Faith is expecting like a very romantic night. So they're sitting at this little table by the window with this beautiful view of the city, and they're having a conversation. And while they're talking, Loren is just really acting kind of out of pocket. He is like, he takes the beer can and he's crushing it. He's crushing it on his head. He's taking the butter knife. He's playing with it. He's like making stabbing motions with the butter knife against his hand. And Faith is looking at him like, "Are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you?" And so she tells him that she's not comfortable with him playing with the butter knife. And he's like, "Why? It's not sharp." So she takes a butter knife from him and she lays it somewhere far away from him. And then she ends up like getting up and she tells him, she's like, "The way you're acting, I'm not really comfortable with. I don't know what's wrong with you, but the whole vibe has changed now between us." So she ends up returning back the engagement ring and she walks out of the room. She takes her bags and she walks out of the room. So in the hallway, the producers are asking her what's wrong. And she tells the producer that, he wasn't acting normal. And the way that he was playing with the knife, it scared her because she is still a trans woman who is on very much high alert at all times because of crimes that have been committed against trans people. So she was like, "Yeah, I don't know what message he was trying to send me with him playing with that knife. I don't know what the hell was going on, but I felt really uncomfortable and my spidey senses were on high alert. And so I got to go." And yeah, that was the end of that. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, that was the end of that. Um, and then, of course, in the next episode, the teaser that they showed us, they met up again for, I guess, for him to apologize or whatever. I wish whenever these people decide to walk away and leave a scene because they're mad at their partner, I wish they would stay away. When you make that decision to leave and walk off stage left, stay gone. Don't come back. Like, stick to your decision. Somebody pissed you off. They disrespected you. You got up and you left. Don't come back. But yeah, they're going to meet up again, I guess, for him to apologize and try to weasel his way back into her life. Moving on to Sunny and Veah. So they're celebrating their 1 year anniversary and they decide to take a trip and they go to this really beautiful resort somewhere. And when they get to the room, Sunny is ready to be very romantic. Okay, so she puts on her sexy lingerie and I guess they got it on and popping. Now remember in last week's episode, when they met with her father, the father basically told Veah, "Hey, you're going to have to convert to Islam if you want to be with my son because his religion is very important to him. We practice Islam and this is how it is." But then again, we see them fornicating. We see Sunny and Veah fornicating. And I'm always asking the question because we've seen this several times. Whenever we have someone on the show who is a strict Muslim, not for all of them, but for some of them, it's like, okay, they want their partners to convert and do this and that. But then they're still like, doing things that violate their religion. So, like, I'm not understanding, like, how he can think it's okay to have premarital sex with her, but then he wants her to convert because he's so devoted to his religion and he wants to follow all the tenets of his religion, including having a Muslim spouse. But then you violate one of the tenets by having premarital sex. I'm very confused. So the next day, they go to see a traditional Zulu dance performance, and which was really nice. And the dancers actually encouraged them to get up and dance in front of the audience. So that was interesting. So later on, they're having dinner and they're talking about what their future would be like. So this gives Sunny an opportunity to bring up her converting to Islam. And he tells her straight up, "No chaser, look, I'm a Muslim man. I practice my religion. My religion is important to me. And my religion dictates that if I get married, my spouse has to be Muslim as well. So I am expecting you to convert." And she is like, "No." Um, she says that at first she says, "I think this is not really you talking. I think you're just being pressured by your dad and your friends." And he tells her, "No, this is really me. When they were telling you about, conversion and all of that, they were telling you the truth. This is the real me. I am expecting you to convert. They were right. My dad, my friends, all those people were 100% right. And that's what I'm expecting." And she then questions, "Well, how strict are you with your religion if me and you are doing the nasty every chance we get? Like, I'm confused. If you're so strict about it, why are you going against your religion by fornicating with me?" And he tells her that he's young and that he's still learning and that sometimes he's going to mess up. Okay, Sunny, Yeah, we all make mistakes, and we all, for those of us who practice our religions, whatever that religion may be, we do go against what God or whoever wants us to do, and we repent and we ask for forgiveness and we try not to mess up. But Sunny, my dear, it wasn't like you just kind of stumbled into it and realized, oh, this is nice, I think I'm going to stick around for a few minutes. No, you were pursuing. Okay, the dog in you was chasing the cat. Okay, you were like actively pursuing her, wanting her in that way. And it wasn't like it was a mistake. It was like, oh my God, we did this and we shouldn't have done it. Let's not do it again. Y'all repeatedly did the nasty. So I'm confused, Sonny. Like, I don't understand why you're so strict in one area, like where she has to be Muslim, but you're not very strict in other areas where you're benefiting from, where you're getting pleasure from. You're kind of loosey goosey with that. So he says, yeah, he makes mistakes, but then he asks for Allah's forgiveness, and she doesn't believe that one religion is better than the other. So she doesn't understand, like, why can't there two religions coexist? I don't know if Veah is a practicing Christian or exactly what she is, or if she just believes, like, or if she's just like a spiritual person. I don't know. But she's like, well, why can't we just coexist? You do your thing and I do my thing, but we're still together as a couple. So she says, I'm not going to change my religion. It's just not going to happen. And so he gets upset and he walks away. This is like the 55th time that we've seen Sonny leave a scene because he gets really upset about something. But then he always comes back. So I need you to stand on business, Sonny. I need these people to stand on business. So he gets up and he leaves and he says, you know what, I'm just going to go pack my bags and leave. I don't want to put up with this. So she follows him all the way back to their hotel room. And we don't see them, but their mics are still on. And so we can hear her ask him, um, okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. We can hear her ask him what took him so long to tell her this if this was so important to him. And I think she asked him this before during the dinner, and he said something about he was just being really patient. And I don't know what he said, but whatever it was, Sonny, you didn't ask her earlier. You didn't tell her earlier because you didn't want to lose her. And um, you probably wanted to, have some adult time with her before you crushed her dreams by telling her that she needed to convert. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think that's the reason why he didn't tell her sooner, because he wanted them to explore each other thoroughly before, they ended up possibly breaking up. He wanted to get a taste of that before she walks out of his life forever, he walks out of her life forever. That's why I think you didn't tell her, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But I need people, like, if you're going to take your religion so seriously to the point where your whole entire relationship hinges on whether or not somebody converts, I need you to take all of your religion seriously and not pick and choose the things that you want to follow. Anyways, moving on. Magda and Joe. So Joe finally gets to meet Magda's mother. Magda already had told her mom beforehand that Joe had slept with another girl early on in their relationship. So the mom is already feeling some kind of way towards Joe. Now, Magda and her mom are kind of like, they're a lot to deal with. They're a lot to deal with. It's like they have these plans of, like, finding a man for Magda, and this man better step in line, or I don't know. It's just like the way Magna is, and I know her mom is in full support of it. It's just like extremely strong. And she comes on to these men so, like, the way she wants to hurry up and get married to Joe and go to America and get married and start having babies, like, all within the first month of her arriving in America. And it's like, and her mom is like encouraging this, and her mom is okay with her acting like this. But anyway, so the mom is already feeling some kind of way towards Joe about the fact that he has slept with another girl early on in their relationship. And if I was her mom, I would have been like, okay, but you've never even met. This is like the first time that y'all have seen each other physically. Like, how seriously was this relationship when he was still living in Miami and before y'all got to meet each other in person? Like, maybe he wasn't really, I don't know. So when they sit down for dinner, Joe is trying to make small talk. He's trying to, like appeal to her mom, but the mom is very standoffish. She's like kind of, real icy, really icy towards him. And he can feel the tension exuding from her. And it's all because of the information that Magna told her. So the mom expressed her concern about Joey sleeping with another girl. Now, Magna is translating between the two of them, and he uses a translator too. But Magna's like, yeah, my mom is like kind of concerned about the fact that she slept with this other girl. And so Joe looks at Magda like, why in the world would you tell your mom that when you know that I'm trying to impress your mother? Like, how is she ever going to like me if you're going to talk about stuff like that with her? And so Magna tells him, well, she's my best friend and I tell her everything. But you want your mom to like him, right? I don't know. I don't know. So Joe wonders, like how is it supposed to impress the mother? Joe tells the mother that, I didn't mean to hurt her. I love Magda. I want a future with her. I want to marry her and have kids with her someday. So yeah, it was a mistake on my part, and I feel really bad about it. So he gets back in the mom's good graces. The mom is like okay with him now. So then the mom is like, well, how do we know that you're never going to leave Magna? Like, if you get bored, you might start wandering again. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I will never want to leave Magna. And I'm like, Joe, these women are some very serious women when it comes to relationships, okay? They take relationships very, very, very seriously. And anything that you say, they're going to hold you to it. So you said that you're never going to hurt her and that you have no plans on ever leaving her. Okay, please keep that in mind because they will throw that back in your face if you do consider leaving her or if you do end up hurting her again. They will throw that back in your face. So Magna's mother feels a lot better about him afterwards. So after that, they go play volleyball and they play with against two guys. And so when the game is over, Joe is asking Magna, so do you always play with men? And Magda was like, yeah, sometimes I'll play with men, blah blah blah. I think her reasoning was that men are a little bit more competitive, and because she kind of sees herself as a paraprofessional volleyball player or something, she likes the challenge. And so she's like, yeah, sometimes I'll play with men or whatever. Somehow or another, the conversation goes to whether or not you can remain friends with your ex. And Magna, one thing about Magna, you know exactly where she stands about everything. So she was like, I do not believe that you can be friends with your ex. It is impossible. I would not allow it. I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't expect anybody else to do it. And it's wrong. It's bad. It's a big no-no. You cannot be friends with your ex. I absolutely do not agree with that. So now Joe is kind of like, uh, stressing out because he is still friends with one of his exes and he claims that the relationship is purely platonic. There's nothing going on between him and this particular ex, but Magna has no idea. So he's going to have to tell her at some point that he is still friends with an ex. Now this is going to piss off Magna because Magna had given him the opportunity to tell her everything that he can think of that could possibly piss her off, and he failed to tell her that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't have any opinion about Magna and Joe, to tell you the truth. I think that everything about them is a little bit, it's just silly. Magda and Joe to me are silly. I'm not taking them very seriously. I think Magda is really funny, like how seriously she's taking this relationship, and Joe just seems really trapped. It's kind of like, Joe, blink twice if you need help. He seems like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go. He just kind of comes off like he is like stuck with this girl against his will. Like he's too scared to leave. He's too scared to speak his mind. He's too scared to do anything because Magda has got such a strong hold on him and she's extremely demanding and very, very controlling. And Joe, I don't know if he likes being controlled or if he's like in a situation where he does need help. I really don't know. Somebody go check on Joe, make sure he's okay. Moving on to Adan and Tiger Lily. So it is their last night in Turkey. They're having dinner and the conversation goes towards children. And so Tiger Lily is worried because of her age, even though they've been trying really hard. She's still worried that, well, what if she can't get pregnant? Or like, what's going to happen? And I guess she just wants to know, are you going to leave me if I can't give you a baby? So he tells her, well, in my culture or in my religion, if the wife cannot produce a child, the solution is for the husband to get a second wife. And he talks about how his dad did this to his mom, not because she couldn't produce children, but at some point, his father decided to take on another wife. It really hurt his mom. She filed for divorce. She left. It broke up the family. Everybody was really upset about it. And it like basically ruined his childhood. And so he talks about how it was really horrible when his dad left to go be with this other woman and to see all the pain that his mom had gone through. So he says, I would never do that. I'm not going to do that to you. And so she's like, okay, you're not going to get a second wife, but what happens if we can't have a child? And he's like, I don't even know why you're thinking that way. Don't even think about that. Let's just try. We're going to keep trying. We'll just keep trying until we get a baby. So I'm not understanding if, Adnan doesn't understand yet, or he hasn't reached that part of biology where, woman only has so many years to produce children. And then after that, it's a wrap. But he's very optimistic. He's very positive. He's like, don't even think about that. We're just going to keep trying until we get a baby. Well, lo and behold, as soon as she gets back to Texas, she felt kind of funny. And, she took a pregnancy test and it was positive. So I don't know whether to be happy or not. Of course, we're happy that they got what they wanted. They wanted a baby. So we're happy for them in that aspect. And of course, the creation of life is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, these two people don't really know each other. They don't even really know each other. She still has no idea what's expected of her as his wife. She still doesn't have a clue if he expects her, to follow Muslim tradition, or if he's going to allow her to be her regular American self, or what. They don't know anything about each other, and now they're going to have a baby. Supposedly, it seems like they're going to have a baby now. So that was quite interesting. Um, I think someone in my comments had said that, that it's not fair for the, like in a Muslim, non-Muslim relationship, that it's not fair for the Muslim to expect their non-Muslim partner to convert and to change and to become Muslim, that it's not fair to expect that. And I'm thinking to myself, in my own personal experiences, like watching friends, family members, and from what I've seen on television, the Muslim will always expect, if they're a practicing Muslim, they will always expect their partners to convert. Very rare. I don't think I've ever, other than that one couple on 90 Day Fiance. Kind of, once again, I forgot their names. But he really wasn't that strict with practicing his uh Zaid. That was his name. His name was Zaid, and her name was, it was Zaid, and I can't remember her name. He didn't expect her to convert, but then again, he wasn't like a practicing Muslim. Like, her tattoos didn't bother him, her drinking didn't bother him. He was okay with her, staying her regular American self. But I think that's probably the only couple where there was a Muslim involved that they didn't expect their partner to convert. And like I said, in my real life experiences, if you're going to be with a Muslim, you're going to be converting, or you're not going to be with them. So I don't know. Moving on to Vanya. So Vanya is still messing around with Josko, which is the guy that she met after Bojo broke up with her, after she broke up with Bojo, however it went. So they go out for a date, which is on it's a jacuzzi on the rooftop. So they're in the jacuzzi, and they're getting to know each other better. And Vanya tells him that she has been celibate for 6 years. And he was shocked. He was surprised about that, but I think he was also kind of like turned on. So they make out a little bit in the jacuzzi, then they go back to the apartment, but nothing ended up happening. Vanya says that, she doesn't want to get in too deep too soon with him. They just met. And so she's not really comfortable giving up the goods, so soon after meeting him. Later on, we see them, they go hiking up to a castle, and Josko asks her, how does she feel about him having a child? And Vanya says that it is scary for her to be with someone who has a kid, because she's been down this road before and it didn't end well. She got really attached to the child. And when her and her ex broke up, the child was basically yanked out of her life. And it really affected her deeply, because she was seeing this child every day, helping raise this child. And then all of a sudden the child was gone. And so it affected her like really, really bad. And so she's been very wary of being with people who had children. So he wants her to make an exception, because he's like, he really feels something between them. He says he really likes her. She really likes him. So there's something going on. They're like making a connection. There's chemistry between them. They're bonding. They like each other a lot. And he doesn't want to let her go. And so he really wants her to take a chance on him. So she's like, you know what? I guess it really wasn't in my plans, but Josko checks all of my boxes, but he comes with a child, and it is what it is. So the next time that we see them, it's Vanya's last night in Croatia, and they go out for ice cream, and then they go to this statue, this really huge statue, and the statue has got this big toe, and when you rub the big toe, you make a wish, and you touch the big toe, and your wish is supposed to come true. So they both do that, right? Really cute moment. They're basically wishing to stay in each other's lives. And so after that, he tells her that he plans to see her in Orlando. He plans to visit her in Orlando. And so she's really excited about that. She can't believe that. She came from a guy who didn't even want to touch her to a guy now who is wanting her in his life and doesn't want to let her go. So they do plan on still staying together. They're going to make it long distance. And she asked him, "So are you like my boyfriend now?" And he was like, "Of course. Yes, I am." So she calls him the love of her life. And so now we are on the Vanya and Josko train, and we'll see where it takes us. So this was kind of like a little bit of a filler episode. Not that much happened, but thank you so much anyway for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And on your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and you know that I will definitely talk to you later.